Could you all tell me, not you, Mr. Moss, but the other two, your names, just so I can, on the,
Sure.
when I'm writing the minutes up, I can say who else was present?
Sure. Trey, T-R-E-Y.
T-R-E-Y?
Yep. Lankford, L-A-N-K-F-O-R-D,
Okay.
with KTVS.
KTVS?
That's correct.
And Melody, M-E-L-O-D-Y, Brumble, B-R-U-M-B-L-E, also with KTVS.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And while we're not on the record, let me say to y'all, I don't mean any disrespect when I'm not returning your phone calls. When you call and ask me about something I have nothing to do with, it's just nothing personal. I just, you call me to ask me about Elio's being fined in some transaction happening in New Orleans or Baton Rouge. I don't have anything to do with Elio. So the fact that I didn't return your call wasn't personal. It wasn't personal. I have nothing to say about Elio. I don't have any relationship with Elio. Neither does the IDB. And so that's why I didn't call back. I don't know what you would have asked me to say. And that was off the record, Mr. Marks.
So we are now convened.
Is this the revision of bylaws committee meeting?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We wouldn't have enough for a quorum for that.
Well, I understand, but there's 3 members on the bylaws committee. Who's the third member who's not here?
Dr. Armington's not here,
Okay.
but he gave his input already.
And the bylaws I saw on the agenda that's to be voted on today?
Yeah.
And it requires a unanimous vote for change?
No, majority.
Majority.
Did you see the balloons coming in this morning?
No, what was,
Oh, McNabb.
the
hot air balloon?
helium balloons?
When I drove up elevator from my house as I crossed 3132, yes,
Lost my signal.
there were at least 25. And some of them, I mean, they were landing.
Have enough
I said,
battery power to
oh,
make your phone
Landed
hot
the
spot?
LSU?
well, some of them were.
No, I'm using my plug-in for battery
One that looked
power.
like it was landing.
No, and I can't.
It used to be called Frogtown, off of LG, you have to know, anyway. But they were coming down, and I guess they take off at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and they landed at 8 o'clock. Wow. It was a sight. I mean, it was a sight.
We got 18 minutes to get this done.
It'll take 2. So,
Thank you so much for
So, we have a quorum now.
That was my only thank you.
A quorum of the committee to review and revise the bylaws is hereby convened.
All right, you want me to, the bylaws, just to remind you, the bylaws haven't been amended in about 30 years, more than 30 years. So the black line shows the changes that I've suggested be made to the original bylaws. There's a lot of cleanup, adding some references to the open meetings law that weren't in the original one, just to say explicitly that the board meetings are open and subject to the meetings law as they are required to be by law. The one substantive change that I made, which I pointed out to you in an email, was it's the new paragraph 24, which would authorize the president or vice president to have the authority under the bylaws to sign miscellaneous type documents relating to your existing bond issues and existing properties. These are things, if you remember, sometimes we'll get a request, we did earlier, last year actually, from the Libby Glass folks. You all own the property at Libby Glass because there's a bond issue there, and the city needed a utility servitude over part of the property. And so we had to convene a special board meeting to get authority for the president to sign the utility servitude that Libby had requested us to sign. And this would just give authority for them to sign those types of miscellaneous documents, servitudes,
Understood.
partial releases without having a board meeting. The other change
Question, without having a board meeting, but not without
with,
the knowledge of the board.
no, it wouldn't require notice to the board, but it would require whatever document they're gonna sign be approved by council, either us or the parish attorney. Well, either the IDB's council or the parish attorney.
The whole idea is that it streamlines the decision and it streamlines the signature. We don't have to convene the board and vote on something that is,
It's just a general administrative type thing. It doesn't give the president authority to approve a whole bond issue or to require a piece of property that you don't have. It's really, just with respect to, and it says, with
Yes,
respect
this
to.
is my question on that,
It
because
would-
there are multiple, projects.
Yeah, it's only with respect to property already owned by the board in connection with the issuance of bonds, pilot arrangements or otherwise. So this is just like in any corporation, the president has authority to do general administrative things without coming to the board. Something new, a new bond issue, a new property acquisition, it would be a new transaction, would of course require board action. But this is really just intended to apply to something like a utility servitude or partial release.
Only one question, is it implied that we know or is identified what all the movable property is?
It's immovable property owned by the IDB in connection with bonds. I'm sorry, yeah. The other thing is there were two typos that I corrected. One is on the second page,
Number 11.
number 11, the very last word, I think I changed it already. It's by, should read by.
by the vice president.
As may determine,
Or the vice president, just take out in, just take the in.
yeah,
Right.
it said as may be determined by the president or in the vice president, it should be or by the vice president. So I've changed that, and then also in number 21, dealing with the secretary treasurer, there were references to assistant secretaries, we're gonna just change all those to assistant secretaries treasurer. Assistant secretary treasurer, to be consistent with the title. And this will have to be, of course, voted on by the full board at the board meeting, but, the purpose of this would just be to make a recommendation to them at the meeting that's gonna
We,
be
the-
at 9 o'clock.
We, the committee, have reviewed these changes and corrections and recommend that the full board vote to accept.
That would be the recommendation, if that's what you.
And, yeah, and as to add, we have one committee member that is not here, they reviewed it, and his changes have been incorporated.
Exactly, so all three members are in accord with that recommendation after having reviewed the changes.
That's what y'all gotta decide, I'm saying.
And you looked up principle.
I'm positive about the spelling principle, yes.
There's two ways. Do we want to have two signatures on the checks? If so, for all checks or for a certain, over a certain amount? And if so, does that really need to be in the bylaws or should that just be policy?
It could be in the bylaws, it wouldn't be unusual for that to be in the bylaws.
Would y'all like to do that?
Where is that? Under,
It's not in the, it's not in this. It's
but
just-
would it be under execution of interest?
Oh, where would it go?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would go,
Yeah.
number 23, which is dealing with checks.
Yeah, let's just say that it were checks required 2 signatures. That's just that simple.
And that's
So
good.
all checks?
I would suggest.
Well, I mean, 23 reads, all notes, drafts, acceptances, checks, endorsements, and all evidence of indebtedness to the corporation shall be signed by such officer or officers or such agent or agents in such manner as the board from time to time may determine.
So if you want, we could add a sentence there that says, you know, check should be signed by at least two officers.
Okay?
Add
And that gives you
language.
more than one person to not hold you up when you need to take care of something. You know, it's not identified like there's one for the treasurer or something. If that
Well, it
person
would
is
have
not
to be.
available.
It'd have to be an officer.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, let's just say by two officers, there's 3 officers. So
Okay.
one that says secretary treasurer. So all checks should be signed by, it's by the president.
There you are right there.
Okay, so all checks should be signed by 2 officers of the corporation in number of 23.
So we've talked about it. We all agree that we do not need to hire an accountant. Every year. We do an audit every year. We have a dozen transactions.
I didn't know that was brought up.
Well, that's Brad's asking. He's asking that we hire an accountant on behalf of the check. I'm saying no.
Our real estate agent could look over everything and say,
And the other thing that he's asking is that we get
So I'm told.
instead of having the chairman's address be used, we always use the chairman's address.
okay, this is beyond the scope of our committee.
Yeah.
So now, we have just made a change that,
Well, it's not actually, Gordon. The bylaws say that the principal office of the corporation is the principal office and the person listed as registered agent in the Secretary of State's corporation division. And as coincidentally, it's time for us to file, and this is of course something for us to talk about before we file the annual report with Secretary of State. I brought 2 versions. One which says P.O. Box 1000, 3050 Thornhill Avenue. And the other one, it's not really up to me to decide. Frankly, I know you and I disagree on this. I would probably list the Caddo office as the registered address.
You don't see a problem with the insulation from the marriage. I don't care. I go to the post office.
As opposed to the box that Guard had.
Yeah.
So when Ed was president, it went to him. When Ed was president before him, it went to his address, and now it comes to mine. I go to the P.O. box every day anyway, so there's no extra trip. What he wants is to have a permanent address in
I
every.
can't talk now, I'm in a meeting.
I don't care.
I can understand the logic there, but, I mean, I think
No.
it's one of those things that is not something worth arguing about.
Yeah, I really don't.
Thank you.
I think if you made it the Caddo Commission address, then everybody would probably feel comfortable.
In fact, I would suggest making it the Caddo Parish Commission, the parish attorney's office, and the parish attorney. I'll bring that up. Okay.
Well, we need to know where we're at.
Yes, so let's vote. Are there any
Where
other?
would we add that? Right here.
Okay, so yeah, let's say that the principal office of the corporation,
Money in the market.
and the registered address, we'll say in number 2, will be the Caddo Parish Commission, potential parish attorney.
That's it. I'm running.
Morning.
I just say.
We have 5 more minutes for our committee meeting.
They're welcome to join us.
Thank you.
No, they're welcome to join us.
Just to let you know what we're doing. So,
Keep them out shut.
no, you cool.
So we're gonna try to get everything out of it.
All right, so we'd all like to make our vote to recommend the bylaws with these amendments. The typos, the secretary, reference to secretary treasurer, the principal office to be Caddo Parish Commission, pension parish attorney, and checks to be signed by 2 officers. Otherwise, it's as previously presented.
I vote yes.
I'm not on the committee, but I've got a question, and I just had it marked on my bylaws, was, I don't know if this is even proper for a public body, but is there a way to, have voting by electronic meetings for emergencies?
No, that violates the open meetings law.
Got it. Figured that was the answer, but I thought I'd ask anyway, because as a lawyer, I was putting those in all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Yeah, that's possible for private corporations.
Got it.
so our committee has now voted.
So, are you making a motion?
I make the motion that, again, we accept these, and we make the recommendation to the full board to accept. All those in favor? Aye. That's 2 out of 3.
And I think that, we have to just ask if there's anybody from the public who wants to say anything. Yes.
I have a question.
Because it's open meeting.
What is the change in the signing of checks from, wasn't it 2 signatures before?
No,
It was not.
no, just one officer.
Oh.
Okay,
Anything else? Okay.
with that, the meeting is adjourned. We're ready for the full board meeting.
In 5 minutes.